like, oh, we're gonna eat my dog, like a pretty privilege, or it's like the white privilege. And it's so sad because I'm so proud of being Filipina. Like, I feel like I'm Filipino by heart.
I'm sorry,
but I'm so irritated when I didn't close the door.
It's okay. Don't worry about it. It's alright. In this episode of the Wineding Down Podcast, we have a special guest. She is a Viva artist, not Viva Max, and she is here to talk about her experience growing up in Sweden as a Swedish Filipina, and her more recent experience moving to the Philippines as a foreigner. Without further ado, please welcome Hanna.
Hi.
All right, thank you so much, Hanna, for joining our podcast. And today we just wanted to get your experience because you grew up in Sweden, but she's half Filipino and half Swedish.
Yes. Okay. Hi guys. No, I'm so shy.
So Hanna, you're half Filipino, half Swedish, right?
Exactly.
Okay. And unlike me, you grew up outside of the Philippines.
Yeah.
Could you walk us through a little bit what that was like?
Okay. Well, first I'm just gonna introduce myself. Hi, my name is Hanna Leander, and just like Chase said, I'm half Swedish, half Filipina. And so yeah, I grew up in Sweden, born and raised. My mom is Filipina, and my dad is Swedish. And growing up in I'm not sure if it's controversial to say, but in a white country, being Asian especially, it's kind of hard, to be honest.
I can imagine.
Yeah. When you mean kind of hard, do you mean racism wise or just culture?
Yeah, like 100%. Like I would always hear oh, Hanna, you look good for being Asian. And I'm like, what do you mean about that?
So there's a general stigma within Sweden or maybe just general, European countries about being Asian.
Oh yeah, 100%. They would be like, oh, we're gonna eat my dog.
Oh.
And it's why are you saying that? I'm not gonna eat your dog. And what?
It's just adults, or is this children, growing up there? Or would you say it's everybody?
I experienced both. Being a kid and also when I'm growing up. I still have friends that would joke around about it. Are you gonna eat that dog? And why? I get so frustrated and mad about it. It's so stupid.
Seems like such an odd thing to harp about.
Yeah.
But I think I get, because if that's especially if they're not really exposed to that many Asians or they haven't traveled, and then they see on TV that stereotype about Chinese people eating dogs and stuff, and it's just oh, Chinese, oh, Filipino, Asian, and they just make that
yeah. I mean, I can see why
it's an
it
ignorant
happened.
Joke. Yeah.
I don't know, because I've been to the US. I've heard that when it regards to Chinese people specifically or Korean people, but it's not generally an entire Asian thing in the US. Do you think that's because is it just because there's not a lot of Asians in Sweden?
I just think it's more ignorance and people are not know about Asia, because for them when they hear Asia, it's oh, you're Chinese, and they would go Shing Chong, doing those kind of stuff and doing the eyes, and it's I don't really understand. For me, I don't have the slanted eyes. I have the big round eyes. So I'm I don't really understand.
So you're offended that you're being called Chinese?
Oh no! I'm not. No, nothing against Chinese people, Japanese or whatever.
I'm joking.
Yeah,
guys.
No, but it's more that they're not educated about Asians. It's because back home, if I would tell them there's a thing people would say more oh, you're Polish, so go and pluck potatoes. But if I would say that to one of my friends, they would be so offended.
Yeah.
But if they're gonna say that about me being Asian, oh, it's funny.
Yeah.
Hanna can tolerate it.
You're the minority in that.
Yeah. To be honest, I find that interesting because in a previous video we did, we were talking about if you look at it from here, we kind of we're going through the same thing, but more so because people were not so educated about black people. It even happened 2 days ago. Some guy like when we're eating, said the N-word. He was like singing the N-word when he like wanted to.
Yeah, and he was
get
so
our order.
excited
And
too.
he was so like happy to say that because he thought maybe I'd say it back. So it's just that like ignorance or just lack of like awareness. So I definitely understand where you're coming
That's
from
so
there.
weird.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was right after we had filmed the podcast too.
Oh my God.
I'm pretty sure he didn't watch it.
Yeah.
Okay, well, thank you so much for at least giving us some, perspective on that, like, part of it.
Like one more thing, and
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
literally popped up. So like back home, it's like people would like make fun of you because like, oh, your dad, he went to Asia to get a wife. You know, like that, like a post-order wife. Like, oh, he just went like that kind of things. And that's also like so weird for me. Like before, I didn't quite understand the meaning of it when people said that, and I was like, well, yeah, he went to Asia and he found his love during that time.
Yeah.
Why is that weird? But now when I'm like growing up and now like understand what they're saying in that way, and that hurts so bad knowing that people would like judge you because your dad found another person in another country.
Yeah.
And just because it's Asia, it's like a post-order wife kind of thing.
Post-order. That's
Mm.
interesting, and that's
It's a new one.
I've heard stuff like that because there's a saying that my dad always tells me. It's like, you can be attractive in another country, but you're not attractive at home. And I feel like this falls along the line of what you were talking about. Basically, they're saying that your dad wasn't able to find a wife in Sweden, and so he went over to Asia to get a wife.
Yeah. I bet that must be hard because I mean, hearing that like, I guess mostly all the time when you're growing up, it also kind of like it brings out insecurities in a way, right, when you're growing up. So I guess with the whole now when did you move to Sweden again? Like what age did you? Sorry, to the Philippines rather.
Like in Border to Sweden.
to the Philippines. So like that lasted until like you were 20s, right? 20.
I moved to the Philippines 2021.
2021.
Yeah, in
2 years?
September.
2 years ago.
So yeah, but I'm still being like back and forth to Sweden, so I wouldn't say I've been living here for like almost 2 years, but yeah.
Okay.
2021.
And like, so when you moved here 2021, did you like, I mean, obviously there's going to be a culture shock, but like what, do you have any specific like thing that you observed that you're like, oh, this is way different than, in Sweden?
Okay, I'm just gonna point out one thing. Like, I love being in the Philippines because I get treated so different than comparing to like back home in Sweden. Like here, it's like a pretty privilege, or it's like the white privilege. Like people can see that I'm half, they can see that I'm like half white, and people would treat you so differently. Like it's insane. I would see like a full Filipino versus me, like how the guards would act.
Yeah.
They would be super rude to the Filipino person if they're asking something, and then I'll come up and ask the same question. They're like, "Oh, ma'am, of course I'll help you. I'll go there too. Oh no, I'll order it for you." No.
Good.
Yeah.
We touched on that topic like in the other podcast that we did. So if you haven't watched that, guys, link below.
Good. Yeah.
Go check it out.
Go check it out.
But basically, because we were just talking, because we also, for example, right, we're black and we grew up here, and we noticed there was a big difference in how we were being treated compared to, let's say, like a European or an American, right? So I just think it's also, and again, this is not only happening in the Philippines, right? It's not unique to the Philippines, but just because that's our experience here, what I think the reason is because of the colonial, mentality, right? So if you were being, because they were colonized by the Spaniards and Americans, so in their minds, I think, white is always better because of just, that's how,
I mean,
we were programmed.
I feel like generally speaking, if everyone who's doing better than you tends to be white, you sort of get like this. Not saying that this is the mentality, but it's definitely a culture that gets built up over time.
Yeah.
It's not something that was have to happen overnight.
Yeah, like I mean, 300 plus years, you know, you kind of like, and especially if you know,
It gets ingrained.
yeah, it gets ingrained, and then
Yeah.
there's a lot of mixed kids because of that, and then you know they're always usually like you know richer or whatever, so it's already like oh if you're white or if you're half, you're just automatically
I mean, nowadays
well
I
off.
think it's getting better. Like I see a lot of like, I won't say ads, but like more so on social media. The Morena,
Yeah.
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 Exactly.
proud of your
I
skin,
feel
which
like-
is great, but it doesn't, like you said, happen like overnight.
I feel like recently there's been a lot more acceptism, right?
Yep.
Oh yeah.
There's been
100%.
a lot less, you know, like I don't know if we mentioned it already, but you know, the whitening soap, right? There used to be so many ads for that. I don't think I've seen one recently. Although maybe that's just my search algorithm. They're just not advertising to me.
Yeah, I think there's not as much ads, but there's so many products.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like
yeah.
you would still see the products. Like if I would go and get a lotion, like when I moved here and I was gonna buy this lotion, and I was like everything was with the whitening. I couldn't find like a normal
Yeah,
lotion
yeah.
that I could find back home in Sweden. Here's everything is with whitening,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's like
Yeah.
so
Yeah, it's definitely
weird.
hard for like darker skinned people to get things here. Like every time I'm in Watson's or whatever, it's hard for me to find lotion that isn't like
Whitening,
white
or even makeup, or
I mean,
just
yeah,
I mean,
makeup.
anything,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
The thing about those whitening stuff is that a lot of the time it's just bleach that's like mixed in there. It's actually
Because
just
of
harmful.
glutathione, right?
It's so
It's harmful.
toxic.
It's toxic.
Super toxic.
Yeah.
The-
But obviously they're not gonna say that in the
They're not
ads.
gonna say
like, oh,
that.
by the way,
we use bleach,
right?
yeah. Although I can't assume that's for all products.
Yeah.
But I mean, moving forward from this topic, because I think we talked about this a lot already. But I think you know it's interesting that you moved here at such a late age. I mean, I know a couple of people who've done that, but what was your reasoning behind moving here to Philippines at this time?
Okay, this is gonna sound so like typical or whatever you're gonna call it, but like I said before, I kind of have this privilege of being half white, half Asian. So here, the Filipinos in general love them, and it's so easy for you to get in the industry when it comes to like artista life or like acting, singing, whatever. And then I got the opportunity to do that, and it's always been my dream of doing it. So I was like, yeah, why not? Why not moving there and pursue that? Because like in Sweden, it's hard for me because I'm in that
Yeah, that box. That
box
yeah,
of being
yeah,
Asian.
Yeah.
So it's
yeah.
like it's so hard for me to start in the movie industry there because I would never get the lead role.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I don't look typical Swedish. I don't have the blonde hair, the blue
blue
eyes,
Yeah.
and everything. Like I did a commercial back home a couple of years ago, and I just got that part because I look different. Not because of me being like a good actress
Yeah.
or
So
whatever.
like a token
It was-
Asian.
yeah, like
yeah,
because
yeah.
that commercial was supposed to be about diversity.
Diversity, yeah.
Like I love that. I'm super for it, but it's like, oh, that's the only reason why I
Gotcha.
got it, not because of
Your
I mean-
talents,
me.
or,
Yeah.
To add to that, though, it does make sense why they would want to cast someone who looked more, you know, categorical Swedish, because they're trying to, you know, relate to their target audience, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so it does make a lot of sense there. So even if it, you know, you can't necessarily chop that up to just, you know,
no, but
what's it
like,
called?
yeah, I get it. But like Sweden, it's so multicultural and
Yeah.
everything. So
Okay.
it's like it's not really.
All right.
Like
Fair.
there's so many different, like there's so many like Filipinos, Thai, Vietnamese, like
Sudanese, like a lot of like
Okay.
Yeah, Syria.
So you would think,
Afghanistan.
so then you would think they would actually try to do some more multicultural
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
films.
people
because,
to
like, if
feel
you-
like, you know, like you want to, like, let's say, as you said, it's multicultural, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if it's only, you know, blonde and then blue eyes on the screen, the others only feel represented. And I think that's also a thing
Yeah.
in the U.S., right? Because
It's
usually it's
definitely-
only white lead cast, and then there's a lot of Asians, there's
Definitely
a lot of black
a
people,
lot of whitewashing.
right? So I get like
Do
totally.
you think
get
that, I don't know the situation is like in Sweden, but do you think there's like pushback against that?
Oh yeah, 100%. Oh, I have a super good example. So
Okay.
in Sweden, during like December, we celebrate this like Lucia. So it's like an Italian thing, Christian or Catholic. Yeah, religion stuff.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm so bad at it. No, so you're supposed to go this train in church. So it's this like, maybe you guys can like put a picture or something so people can see.
Train in
Somewhere.
church.
I heard it sound it's on.
And you're going through the church. It's like this first person. She's like the main. So she's this like woman from Italy. She's like, I'm so bad. I don't have the knowledge of it. But yeah, she's gonna be the first, and that's like the main character. And in Sweden, they always pick, oh, she's gonna be the blonde, tallest girl. And I wanted to be that person, but they're like, no, you can't because you're not blonde and tall. But looking back in history, this person has black hair.
Yeah.
But just because it's like they're trying to make it Swedish, it has to be the blonde, blue-eyed, tall
I was
girl.
gonna say, like, I don't think Italians are typically blonde hair.
No.
Yeah, it's not even
Yeah, more the darker like features.
darker tones.
So that was also like one thing. They would always tell me every year, Hanna, you can't be it because you're not blonde hair. And I'm like, okay.
So how do you feel about The Little Mermaid then?
I haven't watched it though, but I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
There's nothing wrong with it. Yeah, I agree.
I don't understand why people would be mad about it.
I mean,
Or like,
if we're gonna talk about The Little Mermaid, it's like I guess I see both sides. Like obviously, if you'd ask me, I think that it's not a big deal. Like representation matters, but I do understand. Like with humans, we're so used to associating ourselves with what we already know. So I think, to be honest, I honestly think like if they had casted a white blonde chick, people would also be like, "What the fuck? Ariel has red hair." So it's not more so about because this person is black or Asian, just because she doesn't look like what people know as Ariel.
Yeah.
So that's just
my
the way
same thoughts.
humans like work. So I do get that, but I understand that people shouldn't like
Yeah, for sure.
focus on race, especially if a mermaid is a
But
mythical
it's-
creature.
but it's also like kind of interesting. Like, let's say they would do Mulan. How would that I know people would react if they would cast like a American person. But it's still not the same thing. But I get
Yeah, people would react, but maybe it's more so a larger thing because it's more about the whitewashing rather than the fact that it's a different, race.
Yeah, because she's a mermaid, right? It's a mythical creature. Right? With Mulan, I think the story is more because of also
The
her
Chinese,
Chinese stuff. So it's kind of like
Yeah.
changing the whole story, like Pocahontas, like if she was like black, like I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? So or what's her face, the one in Moana, if she was white, like so.
Oh yeah.
I don't know.
That looks like a very different movie if she was white. I'll be honest.
All right, so back to like you, Hanna. So
Sorry.
no, you're fine. No, you're
It was
fine.
my fault.
So back to you, because so right now you've been living in the Philippines for 2 years, and so in Sweden, even if your mom was Filipina, but I don't think that you actually learned the language, right?
Exactly.
So how was that coming here, like not knowing the language, trying to get into the industry? Like, do you think that was a challenge for you?
It's a big challenge, like a really big challenge, because like here, like for sure you will see the Filipino movies and stuff and people will still speak English.
Yeah,
so for
yeah.
me it was like, oh, it's not gonna be any problem for sure, but it's still like you still have to know the language because while acting you have to respond on your partner. So fine, like if you're gonna speak English, fine, but you still have to understand your partner.
Yeah.
And it's gonna be so much more work for me to like getting everything like match and stuff. So and also like being in the industry, you're kind of focused more on like the provinces.
Yeah.
Because that's actually the people that would watch
Yeah,
Filipino movies
yeah.
rather
Yeah.
than the
Yeah.
people here
That's a
in
great point.
Manila.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really interest them in that way because they're more like Americanized. They want to see
Yeah.
like
Netflix and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so
Okay,
for sure
that's
it's hard and it's so sad because I'm so proud of being Filipina. Like I feel like I'm Filipino by heart, and so me not knowing how to speak Tagalog, it sucks.
Yeah. But would you say your Tagalog has improved from when you moved here and now, like in that 2 years? Like, can you say a Tagalog word for us? Like, she's gonna like just say anything in Tagalog and let's
Ay,
see.
mahirap mag-aral ng Tagalog.
Ikaw, Chong,
Yeah, she's better than me.
So no, but I think like, cause like we met Hanna like when she just recently moved here, and I can honestly say you're Tagalog is like completely like night and day from when you moved. So I think, and it's also hard, don't you think? would you say it's true if I say it's hard to learn Tagalog in Manila since everyone speaks English anyways?
100%.
Right? Like I think it's different if you're in the province
Oh, yeah.
compared to like here.
Because I don't really hear that much Tagalog in that kind of way. Like, and also like I like hang out with more like halfies and stuff, so they would like speak English for sure, and it's easier for them. Also, and you know, people be like, "Oh, no speed," but they just walk away. Like the pure Filipinos.
exactly.
And it's like, but I'm trying though.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So,
I think we mentioned that in there also, like our previous podcast, that it's also kind of discouraging to like learn Tagalog because sometimes people tease you like, oh no, like I don't want to talk to you, like, but still it's like, hey, well, if you're trying to learn, then so I definitely get what you're saying.
And also like for me, when I try to speak Tagalog, like you guys, I speak with you, and you're like, oh my god, you're so cute trying to speak Tagalog.
Because you are really just adorable.
She's very adorable. Like
You are just adorable.
I've heard that same stuff.
like Hanna specifically.
Even if you
I
speak
believe
English, you're just
that.
adorable.
I believe it. Yeah.
But no, like I mean, yeah, we can always speak. Like I mean, we're also not the best in Tagalog. We're more fluent in like Hiligaynon. But with Tagalog, as you said, because it's kind of hard to learn it here because people speak English anyways.
Yeah.
So, but maybe the next time Hannah is here, we'll speak in full Tagalog, guys. So watch out for that.
Yeah.
Fluent.
That's pretty ambitious.
Yeah,
Although
but
if you want to
Kaya mo
learn
yan.
more about
Kaya mo yan, kakayanin.
if you want to learn more about how they learn Hiligaynon, we have a video here. It's gonna be in the description. Go ahead, check that out. Yeah.
All right. Do you guys have any more
I mean,
questions? for
I
Hannah?
have some questions. So you mentioned that like generally speaking, the movies that you produce are targeted towards the provincial areas. Do you think that eventually they're gonna start targeting movies towards not just the provincial areas but also the central like Manila areas?
For sure.
For
I
sure?
mean, they're trying. Like, you can really see the big difference in like the production and like the cinematics of the movies now. It's so much better, and they're trying to go like abroad shooting and stuff. So for sure, 100%. But it's still like the main like source or like
Yeah,
the
audience,
public audience is like the province.
Yeah.
Because people here don't really have the time to watch
Yeah.
movies.
Yeah.
True,
Same.
true.
Gets.
Do you are you in any movies or series now
That we should watch out
that we
for?
should like watch out for? Anything that you're like casting for?
No,
No?
not really. I had a casting a week ago for this new movie with Catherine Bernardo,
Oh.
but I didn't get it though because I don't know that much Tagalog.
There we go.
There we go.
You have a very strong incentive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
All right.
yeah.
Well, guys, like watch out for this face, and her Instagram is also here. So go ahead and follow her and just support. And I think I don't have any more questions. Do you have any more questions for Hannah?
I mean, no, not really. But if you guys have any more questions, you can always leave it in the comments, right? And or follow Hanna. You can ask her personally. Should
She's very nice. She's very friendly. Yeah, we really thank you so much for being our first guest on our podcast and just opening up and just inviting us to your little space and also joining our little space. And yeah, thank you so much, babe.
Thank you guys so much. And also, like, I have so many stories more about like Philippines.
Yeah.
There'll be a part 2.
If you
Yeah.
guys
That'll be
want
part
to
two.
see more of Hannah, let us know. Show us the likes in the comments, and we'll make shit happen. We'll drag her here. I'm kidding. You guys, please.
All right, well, thanks for watching, y'all.
Thank you guys.